But that's a kind of early childhood. As I got older, I got very active in the 4-H club and started out very early uh, raising rabbits. And then we had, on the farm, we had all of the farming. So as I got older, 10, 11, 12, we were working on the farm. I used to have to go to the garden, as we called it, and pick vegetables and stuff. And as I got older, my older brother and me would harvest vegetables and stuff and then take them to the farmer's market and sell them to the farmer's market. We didn't have a booth at the farmer's market, but we sold them wholesale to people that were running the farmer's market. And then we grew sweet corn and squash and stuff like that, and beans. But the big item was sweet potatoes. We grew some awesome sweet potatoes. And we'd plant 2 or 3 acres of that and just harvest bushels and bushels of sweet potatoes and take them down. And we got premium prices for them because they were really good. In fact, I go in the grocery store today and look at sweet potatoes, and I said, you know, we'd have fed those to the pigs. That's the ones they sell today compared to the ones that we grew back there, the good ones.
Wow.
So the 4-H club I was very active in that, in vegetable judging. As a junior, I don't remember what the age limit between junior and senior members were, but the junior members, I was on the junior vegetable judging contest and won the state championship. And we went to Springfield, Illinois to judge vegetables there. I don't know how we placed nationally, but we were state champions on our team. It was 4 people on the team. In fact, I think I've got a picture in my 4-H club record there of that group, because my younger brother was on it also. He and I both went to that national championship. Then the one other time I went to the national convention in the 4-H, and I was trying to remember what project I won, but I over the years won a number of different things. But the one that was really telling toward my ultimate career was, I remember when I was in high school, and the county agent is actually the one that kind of runs the 4-H clubs under the U.S. Extension Service, and he got me to enter in electricity. And I said, well, what does that have to do with the farming? He says, well, you've done more on electricity than most anybody that I know of, because when I was young, we didn't have electricity, and until I was older, I remember it coming in, and I remember the REA coming in and wiring farms with electricity for the first time, because my uncle's farm didn't have electricity. And when my uncle that was in, my father's brother, was in the military, he was in the Seabees, and was building things for the military, buildings and stuff, and learned how to do wiring. And he taught me how to do wiring when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, 11, somewhere along in there. And so what I did, I helped him wire houses with electricity for the first time. And I remember it was really kind of interesting because it was only 2 wires that we brought in. We wired 1 plug and a drop cord light in each room, and that was full house power. The plug was for the iron, because that was the only appliance you had. And because the refrigerators were ice boxes, you had the iceman to come and you put ice in the top of the refrigerator. It was actually called an ice box. And when I helped wire all of those, and then as I got older, when we built our new house, it was fully wired, and then I helped add onto that, and then wire down to the barn and put in some motors and stuff, because we had an old hammer mill that used to grind up corn stalks and stuff. And it used to have an old gasoline engine that was really hard to start. And I remember starting that thing and grinding corn and stuff. And we put an electric motor on it. So well, it made it real easy. You just turn the switch and boom, that thing takes off. So with all of that, and then as I got to be a senior, between I guess the 11th grade, 12th grade, something like that, my father was doing plumbing and heating, and he got into air conditioning because air conditioning was just coming into commercial installations. So he got me to do the wiring and the control wiring. Well, I was interested in electricity because one of the things I did was a ham radio operator. I built my own equipment out of war surplus equipment. Get old radios and stuff from the military that was actually abandoned after World War II, and they sold it off by the pound, and you could buy all kind of great electronics. So I built my own ham radios set and got my license. I think I was about 15 years old when I got my ham license. And with the interest I had in electricity, he got me to work with him in doing the control wiring for air conditionings, for banks and big churches. That was one of the big things that he did, was putting in air conditioning in that. And then toward the very end, it was residential. The more expensive homes had air conditioning coming into them. Most people didn't have any air conditioning, but we got one and put it in our house when I was a senior. So I did all of that. We did the wiring, controls, connected up all of that stuff. But anyway, the county agent wanted me to enter the electricity project. Well, that was the first time I had done it. I had entered in all kind of other things, and vegetable growing and things like that. But the electric project, I won the state championship and went to national competition and won 6 nationally. Well, I got a scholarship from Mississippi Power and Light at Mississippi State for electrical engineering. And I says, because prior to that time, I wasn't planning to go to college. It was just too expensive, didn't have the money. Then I was going to go to, actually it was the junior college, a trade school for electricians. And that's what I was going to do when I graduated from high school. Well, I won that scholarship in the summer. And so I guess I'm going to Mississippi State.
Do you remember what the project was that you won on? Like, what did you have to do?
It was electricity. That's what they call it. It was all of the things that you had done and to further the use of electricity on farms.
So it was just kind of an advocacy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, I've got the record here if you want to look at it.
Go ahead and pull it out.
Yeah. And this is the book, and it's a complete history. It's the one that I filed when I was a senior in high school, and it's got, well, in fact, there's that picture of this is the junior judging contest of the winners on crops. You can't see what we're holding. We're holding different vegetables and stuff like
Which
that.
Which one are you? With the glasses?
Right there, holding the banner.
Okay.
Does that look like me?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. But and there's more in here. Here's one of the things that I liked doing is we had a lot of pigs, and this was me showing a pig at the county fair, and I think I won the reserve champion with that one, which is in fact I got more pictures of me and pigs on the farm. Huge. We had lots of them. In fact, it's kind of interesting. My nickname, and as you grow up like that, they give you nicknames. Stuff. Mine was Oink because we raised so many pigs, and I was known for all the pigs that we raised. And in fact, I've got pictures here. Here's one of me milking the cow. That was one of the jobs I had to do, was milk the cows. That's after my older brother did most of the milking until he went to college, and then it became my job to milk the cows until I went to college. And anyway, here's some pictures of newspaper clippings.
From the 4-H?
4-H, yeah. In fact, this is my brothers and sisters. My brother and sister here, my older brother, me, my sister, and my younger brother, featured in an article in the newspaper because of all the ribbons that we won at the county fair and the state fair and stuff like that on our pigs. In fact, that one below, just looking at some of these old pictures and newspaper articles that I had collected over the years. This was a winter calf that I had in the county fair. But anyway, that's when I won the electricity project and went to Mississippi State. And that the other thing is you have to show that you're in good standing and stuff. Well, I had been in the Boy Scouts also, and done very well in that, and became an Eagle Scout. I think I did that when I was about 10th, 11th grade, something like that, and became Eagle Scout. So I was been involved in the Boy Scouts all that time, and I had.
You were a teenager, so it was mainly 4-H and Boy Scouts for your.
Yeah, that was the two big activities.
Did you do any sports or anything like that?
No, didn't have time. In fact, living on a farm at that time, the county had a policy. I went to a high school. It was what they call a consolidated high school. And they had consolidated a lot of the smaller schools into one. So in our area of the county, it was just one high school.
What was the name?
And it was Forest Hill High School. And they had a policy that if you lived on a farm, they would do your primary coursework in the morning, and you'd get off about 1 o'clock in the afternoon to go work on the farm. So I got that. So that was all of your gyms and homeroom and all of those kind of non-core classes. You got exempt from those. So I used to get out of school around 1 o'clock and go home and start working on the farm. I drove the tractor. In fact, I drove the tractor from, I don't remember, from 12, 13 years old. I used to drive the tractor all the time, because I had two events with the tractor that I recall. One time I was plowing the corn next to a creek, and the bank gave way on the creek, and the tractor slid over into the water in the creek, down on an angle about 45 degrees. And because as you come at the end of the row, you had to turn the tractor and go back down the next row, and it was right at the end, and the wheel hit a old stump, and the stump gave way, and it slid into the creek. Fortunately, I wasn't hurt or anything, but they had to get a great big wrecker to come in there and pull that tractor out of the creek. Tore up the cornfields. Terrible. I hate to see that. And then another time I was driving the tractor. I used to use a big bush hog to mow the pastures, to keep the weeds and stuff out. You use the bush hog for when we made hay from the hay fields. So I would mow those. And I remember one time we borrowed a big 3-bladed bush hog. It was actually the type that has 2 big wings on the side that come down, and then it's about it mowed an area maybe 15, 20 feet wide, a great big swath. So it was really efficient type thing. Well, the first time that I got on that thing, it was driven off the power takeoff of the tractor, and I got to the end of the field to turn, and I disengaged the push the clutch and disengage the mowing machine, but it had so much inertia that it just pushed the tractor right through the fence, and I tore down the fence and mowed the fence down. But I figured after that you got to disengage that thing before you get to the end of the row. You can't wait to the last minute and then turn, because you can't turn that great big machine at one big time. But the other thing with driving a tractor was an interesting thing. When I got ready to go to college, I didn't have a driver's license, because if you lived on a farm and you had a F tag, the tag had an F on it, it was a farm vehicle. Well, you didn't have to have a driver's license to drive farm vehicles. Well, I got ready to go to college. I didn't have a driver's license. And I said, well, I got to go down and get a driver's license. So my mother took me down. We went down in the truck, the old farm truck. It's a pickup, old Studebaker truck. You don't even know what a Studebaker is these days. But it was one of the big trucks, and we had 2 of them. We had one big stake-bodied truck, which was a big dual axle, a dual wheel on the back that we used to carry the livestock to the shows in, and harvest crops and stuff on the back of the truck. But anyway, we had a pickup, old Studebaker. I think it was a 40H Studebaker. And I went to get my driver's license, and the patrolman came out, saw the F vehicle, and he says, "You've been driving before?" And I says, "Oh yeah, I've been driving." He said, "Well, how long?" And I said, "Oh, about 4 or 5 years." And he said, well, you know, I got lots of things to do. So you took the written test and you passed it in there. Tell you what, you drive around here and then park it over here and come back and tell me how you did. So I did my own driving test and went back and told him I parked very well. Well, one of the other things in the 4-H we had tractor driving contests. So I'd always entered tractor driving contests, and one of the things is backing a 4-wheel trailer into a tight area. Well, we had a 4-wheel trailer. We used to put hay and corn and stuff on, and I used to back it into the barn. Well, if you've ever driven a 4-wheel trailer, the front wheels are steerable with the tongue, but the back wheels are not. So you got to learn to back that. Well, I had done all of that as a kid, so I knew how to drive very well by the time I got my driver's license. But that was just an interesting sideline.